helps you to realize, well, I kind of did a really good breakfast, maybe I need to trim down on my lunch, right? So it kind of gives you, it really helps you if you'll take that time to write it down. And recently, I've been using MyFitnessPal. I've used several apps. If you have a smartphone, there's lots of apps out there, but I found this one really, really user-friendly and motivating to use. I really enjoyed it. So plan your exercise. Are you going to garden? Going to walk your dog? Are you going to bike? Are you going to go swimming? They've actually found, though, I'll tell you that walking is the best for losing weight, and you need to go do at least 60 minutes. It's not that you have to be pushing yourself and being really strenuous. You need to be able to talk while you exercise. If you can't talk, you're going too fast. Because fat burning happens when we're not quite up at that cardio level, just below it, okay? And you need that time, a longer amount of time, to burn the fat. And then, I want to encourage you to add strength training, if you can, every other day, but at least 2 or 3 days a week. You know, when I'm saying strength training, I'm just talking about like getting some 5-pound dumbbells or a medicine ball. You can turn any floor into an exercise room with a mat, and just doing a simple routine. It doesn't have to be like heavy-duty weight, but it will really pay off. You can Google and find all kinds of programs. But the one that I like, that I have been, I'm going to talk about my dogs first. So here's this Frosty and Ella, and they're my walking pals, and they keep me accountable. They really let me know if I miss a day. And here I'm snowshoeing in our backwoods. I love walking. It's my time to air out my brain. You know, sometimes I just feel like a zombie walking, but I'm just like relaxing my mind, and it just feels so good to breathe that fresh air and to see the changing things of nature. This is the road I walk on. You see the cloud formations always fascinate me, and I love to use the time. Sometimes I sing. I'm known as the singer that walks up and down, and or I'll listen to a talk or a sermon, or I'll talk to God, or I'll memorize scripture. You know, it's really my favorite time of day, and I just encourage you to get outside. That's my best. I enjoy the outside so much. Now this, I don't really like weight training, okay? I've disciplined myself to do it, but once I kind of fell off the wagon there where I got my frozen shoulder, and to get back into it, I've had a real struggle. And it is a daily commitment that I have to make. That this little app, SwearKit, has made it kind of fun for me, because it's all mapped out there for me. I don't have to think about what I'm going to do next, and you can set the time. Do you want to do 5 minutes? Do you want to do an hour? And it just randomly gives different exercises, so your body isn't getting into a rut with the routine. It's changing it all the time. And I have to adapt it, because some of them are kind of high impact, and I just don't do the jumping, you know, or if I want to intensify it, like when I'm doing those, you're sitting and you're doing your abs, I use the medicine ball, or I'll add in my knee bend, sometimes I'll use this, you know, or I'll just add with my squat dumbbell to give me a little extra intensity. But the app itself doesn't require any equipment, okay? It's just right there for you. This is interesting because these two men weigh the same amount, but one is muscle and one is fat. So you can see that it really, when you have muscle, you're toned, and you're going to have a real fat-burning body if you get more muscle on you. This is 1 pound of muscle versus 1 pound of fat. You know, it helps you to lose inches when you work out with the strength training. I tell you, the strength training, I walk every day. But when I do my strength training, that's when I start losing weight, and that's when I start seeing positive results, and I like what I see when I do that. So this is showing how you can eat 500 calories really easy, but how when you try to burn off that 500 calories, it's not so easy. So when you want to burn 500 calories, you have to walk for 105 minutes. Or exercise bike 52 minutes. Jogging 42 minutes, or mopping the house 125 minutes. Now, I would hope that you would see very clearly that the top meal is much healthier than the bottom one for your nutrition. When you're cutting back on your calories, you need them to be packed with nutrition for your own health and safety. You don't want to give away a bunch to just empty calories. So I just want to add one more thing here. You know, medicine used to focus on the exercise pretty strong with the weight and with the nutrition, the intake, when it came to losing weight. But now they're really focusing on the intake and letting the exercise kind of just be an extra bonus to helping you. Because it's so easy to eat those calories that you've exercised off, right? So we often, when I would go to the gym, I would hear them saying, well, I'm going to get to eat my cheesecake tonight, you know, because I'm here working it off. And that is actually going to put you in a losing situation, not losing weight, but keeping it on. I thought this was an interesting slide. $1 buys 1,200 calories of chips, 875 calories of pop, only 250 calories of a lot of vegetables, or 170 calories of those fruits. So you might get more calories, but not more health, and you're not going to feel full and satisfied. So some people like to weigh once a week. For myself, I like to get on that weight scale every day when I'm trying to lose weight, because it's my commitment that day. I see the numbers and I say to myself, this is the moment of truth, and I recommit myself to my diet and exercise plan. And I try not to beat myself up if there's a little bit of a leeway, you know, because some days you're a pound heavier or a pound lighter, and then I have my 1 week mark to also kind of see how I'm trending. So I also ask God every day to keep me from falling into temptation and to strengthen my will to carry out my plan, and He does. He will help you. So I just want to go over, in your handout you have this as well, but the 12 steps for permanent weight loss. This is just a kind of a quick summary, and I'll add a few more points, but not too much. So the first step is to recognize your need and the danger you are in by being overweight or obese. You can't be in denial. You need to say to yourself, you know, it's sort of like when we're 70, you don't have that one either. Okay, it was in the, I'm sorry. Be sure that you get this, I had it sent with this. Okay, when we're 70 years old, we feel like we're still 20, right? And when we're overweight, we still feel young, and we still feel like a little person inside, but not. So we need to recognize our needs. So set a goal to reach your ideal weight. That's your second step, to set your goal, to do all that figuring out that we did at the beginning, to know where you need to go. Decide if you're going to create a food menu or if you're going to go to the bottom counting calories. And come up with a way to do that easily, you know, something that's doable. Eat freely from fruit, all fresh fruit. Of course, avocado and olives are fruit. They're high fat, so eat them sparingly. You can have some though, but just eat them sparingly. Vegetables, all vegetables, greens, herbs, and squash. Legumes, all beans, peas, lentils, and garbanzos. You want to have at least a cup, half a cup to 1 cup of beans a day. Like that would, you know, if you're not eating meat. And tubers, you can have your potatoes, your yams, and your sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are really good for losing weight. And whole grains, all grains, your millet, your barley, your Red River cereal. Enjoy those whole grains for breakfast. Your breads and whole grain pasta. Stay away from the brown rice and the white bread and all the refined and
foods.
Hmm?
Or the white foods.
Stay away from, I'm sorry, stay away from the white rice. I meant to say, thank you for catching this. I really appreciate that. I was thinking white and I said brown. Yeah, that's very confusing, sorry. So nuts, use them sparingly, but one loose handful a day, like just a gentle handful, daily is good. And then plan your exercise program. Walk regularly. If you have a pedometer, they say aim for 10,000 steps a day.
I got mine on.
Good for you. And then build up to at least 60 minutes of walking every day. Don't do this all at once. Do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do it, it's a cumulative throughout the day. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do some in the morning, some in the afternoon, and one before you go to bed. And include strength training for a minimum of 2 days a week to build and maintain muscle. And forget those quickie fad diets. Don't get caught up in them. They, be convinced in your mind, if you know better, that losing weight at a slower rate is much healthier. And these fad diets, what happens with the people, sometimes they get to the point that they cannot permanently lose weight. And they do this yo-yo thing. And it's more dangerous to your health to go up and down dramatically with your weight than to stay fat. Okay? So don't let that be an excuse now. But just don't do it, too fast. And reduce your oils, your butters, your dressings, and other fats that you add to your foods. My mom used to say, I never knew anybody who could gain weight on salad until I met Janine. But the reality of it was is that she made a really delicious dressing. And it was fresh lemon juice with olive oil, garlic, and fresh herbs, and a little salt. And it just gave that palate just so much joy that no wonder that my platefuls of salad were escalating my caloric intake. So olive oil is a good oil. But when you're trying to lose weight, you need to not let that oil jug go down too fast in your cupboard. When you're sauteing, use water. You have a small sacrifice of taste, but it's worth it, okay? Just use it when, it just is really, it's kind of like a must. And read labels carefully. I could do a whole class on just how to read labels, okay? But I don't have time to do that. Just remember that when it comes to carbohydrate and protein, 1 gram will require 4 calories to burn off, or they equal 4 calories. Fat is 9. So when you have 1 gram of fat, you're yielding 9 calories versus your protein and carbs. One thing I really like about my FitnessPal is that it has a chart that I can see what percentage of my diet is fat, protein, and carb. And I can put on there what my goal is and see how my intake is matching up. So when I get done, it says complete your entry for the day, and it says if every day were like today, you will be, and it'll tell me like a number about 10 pounds lighter in 5 weeks. That's kind of motivational, okay, I'm gonna stick with this. Make water your drink of choice. Avoid high-calorie beverages. Avoid alcohol, coffee, and other caffeinated drinks. Kick the snack habit. Okay, this is a big lie that's out there. They tell you need all these little meals all day. It's not true. Drink water. Water in between meals. A lot of times we mistake hunger for thirst. Or should I say, we mistake thirst for hunger. So we're really thirsty, but we think we're hungry. And remember that breakfast will help you take away that mid-morning snacking and get your sleep. Sleep affects leptin levels. This is from the pineal gland. It's a hormone from the pineal gland, and it lets you know when you are full, when you eat. If you're not sleeping well or you're not sleeping enough, you're going to likely gain weight. And catch the morning sunshine. They've done this study where people they wore light monitors, and people who got the morning sun, earlier the better, they actually had lower BMIs. Like basically their waists were trimmer, and they had lower weight results, just by getting that natural light-dark cycle that is so beneficial to us. So they're saying, get out for 20 to 30 minutes before noon, and it'll make a big difference. Ask God to guide you in your plans and trust Him to strengthen your will to do them. This is so important. And I like this. This is kind of like a little pep talk. You know, don't expect to see any results for at least 1 week, and commit to your plan every day. So the difference between your body this week and next week is what you do for the next 7 days to achieve your goals. So this is a promise I want to end on. It's Proverbs 3:5 to 6 and verse 8. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. It shall be health to thy navel. Where is your navel? It's on your belly. Other translation says it shall be health to your flesh. And what is our flesh made up of? Muscle and fat, right? So, and it's marrow to thy bones. So what a perfect promise to end on. Thank you for your attention today.
Well, now we know everything. And would you turn to the second page where it says foods that fight obesity. Linda is coming up. She's going to be doing our first recipe. But I'd like to point this out that these foods that are listed here are foods that you can trust as far as eating them to help you lose weight. Now, would you turn to the next page beyond that? And we want the obesity recipe. Okay, do you have the next page now? This is the recipe page. This is and we're going to do the first recipe that's listed first. Okay. This says basic roast patties or meatless loaf. And today we are going to show you the lentils. Now, I want you to see, you have a whole tool here. This is not just one recipe. This is where you can take one from each category. Look down that first recipe. All the things there, you take one from each category. And then you can mix it together and make your patties or your meatloaf with it. And so if you have a pencil and you want to mark it, we can tell you what it is in what you're going to taste today.
It's this one.
In this category, we have used two because it's in place of the binder. So breadcrumbs and oatmeal. Okay, we're going to put it in at the same time.
Okay, I have here
This is the lentils.
2 cups of pureed lentils.
Now Linda chose to puree these lentils, but you can use them just like they are, or you can mash them, and it works just as well. It's a little different texture. Okay. And then the breadcrumbs is next. We're using the whole wheat. It's better to use whole grain for your bread. Okay? And uncooked oatmeal. Okay, now then the next one, where it says nuts, you can add down there 1 cup of tofu could be in place of half a cup of nuts. And in this case, we've used tofu in place of the nuts. But the nuts are very healthy for you. Remember the studies they've done on hearts. It really helps your heart a lot. Okay, and then for binder, that's where we're using the breadcrumbs, the 1 cup of breadcrumbs. You could add that under binding. You're able to use crumbs if you want to. Or you can use soy flour, potato flour, cooked oatmeal, tapioca, or flax seeds. So any of these. Do you understand how this works here? Okay. Now, when you use these dry things for binding, then you add the liquid in the next one. In the case of tofu, it is wet enough so that you don't need to use the liquid. Okay? So now in the next one, seasonings, we are using sage and parsley. Sage and parsley are the actual seasonings we're using. And that can be to taste. It says 1/4 teaspoon of 1 or more. So, you know, if it's a favorite of yours, you can add more than that. Okay? And then for salt, you could either add 1 teaspoon of salt, or in this case, we're using soy sauce. So that's the one we have. Now where it says garlic salt, we're putting in 1 clove of garlic. This is just added to the recipe, a clove of garlic. And then this, the olive or seed oil is optional, so we're leaving that one out. And notice that it has a whole chopped onion, medium or large. And so we put that onion in as well. You know, my mom used to say that anything that tastes any good always starts with an onion. And so, yeah, so we want to definitely have our onion in there. That gives it a nice texture as well as a good flavor. Okay, so now we're mixing all of this together. And then you can either press it into an oiled loaf pan if you're going to make a loaf, or you can form it into patties. Now Linda has something special she does. You go ahead and tell.
I have one here that without the bread in. This is one here. I form it into patties without bread in it. And this one, I breaded it. It's a slightly a different flavor, a taste. So one has bread in it, and this one doesn't have. So when you fry it.
So that's just something you could choose to do either way. Okay, so you can form them to patties and bake them 15 minutes on each side in the oven. Or if you fry them, try to use just a little bit of oil. This class is on how to lose weight, so you're really way better to bake them in the oven without any oil. Okay, on each side at 350. Are there any questions about this recipe? Okay.
So this is actually how it looks. So you just for, and when you
Make your patties.
It's not too dry, right?
no.
Because you could do your liquid. You could bake that in a loaf.
Yes.
Yes. Question?
Yeah, so if you're baking them, you still have to either use oil or you could use parchment paper.
You could do, yeah, you could, okay, some people like to spray or to use a parchment paper.
But what I did, if you have a non-stick frying pan or skillet, you can spray it and it won't stick.
Or the other thing is, I have cookie sheets that are like Teflon, so then you don't need to use either one. They just go on there and turn them on.
And then see, when you do it with a non-stick skillet, it's not greasy. You look at it, when you taste it.
And then Linda has made up some onions, chopped some onions. Tell about how you
And
do
salted
that.
the onions. Well, Wilma helped me to do this because I was a bit busy today. So you salted the onions and then you just put a little bit over it, and then you can put your gravy to eat with potatoes or whatever you want to eat it with.
So you'll get to taste these in just a little while. Question, yes?
So that's like a meatloaf, like
This
protein.
would be-
This is a protein loaf.
This would be like a meatloaf,
Yeah, it would work.
but it's using the plant foods from the ground.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So thank you. And then you
Now
have
I have
salad.
the salad.
You
Okay.
want your bowl?
Well, I'll use this because I
Okay.
have to go. I have used some romaine lettuce, and I shred it up so it can go around. So and I put some spinach in it. And what else I have here? I have some radishes. Some onion, sweet onion. And then I have some cucumbers. And I have tomato. is some raisins that I have a carrot, grated some carrot. So I'm going to put some raisins in it. And if you don't like raisins, you can put cranberries. You don't like raisins? Okay, do you like cranberries?
No. Next
Well, you can leave it out if you want to.
Yeah, I would.
So if somebody's making the salad dressing, so what I'll do is I'll just take out some so that you a bit of
I
everything.
think I can get around them.
So you don't like raisins or anything in cookies or anything?
No, not a raisin.
Okay.
Especially if I have to take it out of rice pudding.
Okay.
That has raisin.
So with the salad dressing, and the salad dressing is
Yeah.
it's made from what is the salad dressing made? Phyllis,
Yes.
what salad dressing is it made?
We're showing them, it's on the
Okay.
paper. and-
So once you toss it up with your, this is all healthy, like
The salad dressing is your local salad dressing. We're going to be showing that in a few minutes when we're finished. You ready here? Okay. First of all, we're going to be passing around some water for you to drink, and while Mary comes on up with her things.
Gotta have something.
It's too dry.
Gotta have something.